So what we chose for this season, as spoiled by Christian, is the Lost Dutchman Mine. It's in the Superstition Mountains in Arizona, which is just to the east of like Mesa, right outside of Phoenix. Couple reasons why we chose it. One, suggested by a bunch of listeners.
Wait, it's in the Superstition Mountains?
Yeah,
Is that right behind the conspiracy theory lake?
I know. It's a great name for a mountain that might have treasure in it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome finally back to the Cash Me Outside podcast, the Lost Treasure series, season 2. Good to be back, gentlemen. How you doing?
So good.
Good. I noticed you said finally with a little bit of a accusatory tone.
Yeah, I think it's mostly on me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my fault. So
We have
You've been trying to get us to start this new season
yeah,
while you are having a baby. So I was kind of confused. I was like, you're
Yeah.
too busy.
Yeah, your priorities seem kind of out of whack. It was like
Yeah.
one day after the birth.
it's like
you're
texting
"Let's
you
get
guys from the
cracking.
hospital, like,
Can
hey
you come
guys.
to the hospital? Let's go.
got some
Episodes.
ideas.
It'll be great.
So, okay, so a little bit of background for those of you who might be listening for the first time. We are the Cash Me Outside podcast. We do a couple of things. We have a podcast about the Utah treasure hunt, which is an annual treasure hunt that's put on by these awesome guys.
You could even say
David John.
biannual.
Yeah,
You should say biannual.
so twice a year we
Yeah.
do a podcast about that. And then we also, in between those podcasts, where we can, we have started doing these Lost Treasure series where we do some research on treasures and the lore surrounding those treasures. And we do kind of a long-form podcast where we'll do a deep dive telling the story of those treasures. Last season, our first time doing that, we did Montezuma's Lost Treasure, and it was awesome. So we're doing it again.
We're kind of like Goonies, but indoorsy. We just never venture out, but we like to talk about it, and
Yeah.
explore and discover, but never actually get outside our.
How many
house.
times did you just say never? Because I'm pretty sure Goonies, don't they never say never?
They never say never.
Isn't
That's
that
true.
a line from the...
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
from. That's a different movie.
Yeah,
Galaxy
Goonies,
Quest?
Goonies
No.
never say die.
Yeah, that's from.
Oh,
yeah,
You're
yeah.
thinking
Die.
Angels in the Outfield.
Goonies never say die, and I've watched the movie. They also never say the F word. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or appendectomy.
it's true.
I'm sure there's a few words they
That's
don't say.
true. Good for those Goonies. Anyway, so it's been a couple of months. I don't know if I remember how to do a podcast anymore.
First of all, Montezuma's Treasure. I know we've already wrapped on it. That
Yeah.
was pretty fun.
So fun.
It was fun. I don't know if that's my favorite treasure story. I don't love that
Yeah.
treasure story. I like the brief thing I've dug into with
Yeah, this
with-
one's gonna be
with
fun.
the Dutchman's Mine, the Lost
Yeah.
Dutchman's Mine, than I did Montezuma's Treasure. Honestly,
Okay. I mean,
I
you
just
don't-
doubted it from the beginning.
You don't need to prop up season 2's content by putting down season 1's content. You can be excited about both.
Chad's over here picking his favorite
Because I don't
children.
even care at all. About
I was
the
literally
first
from the
season.
beginning of Montezuma's Treasure. I was like, this isn't real.
So the things here are all the things that Chad didn't like about Montezuma's Treasure, right? It was, it was stories of like the Spanish conquistadors and Native American Indians in the American Southwest and gold hidden, in mountains. Those are all things Chad had a really hard time with. So
It was mostly okay. I know what you're doing. You're making fun of me.
for
it
this
was-
season.
It was the all the cursiness of it.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
ghosts
love
and
the
that kind of
ghosts and
stuff,
the
yeah.
curse, even though it makes a good story.
Yeah.
I just found it a little unbelievable. But
So
yeah.
so we decided just to tease, and we're going to get into this. We decided for season 2, we're like, look, instead of telling stories of people that were so afraid that they were going to die that they left, and there were a couple of deaths with Montezuma's Treasure,
Yeah.
rattlesnake bites and heart attacks. There are, Christian, this story has dead bodies everywhere.
Thank heavens.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Real dead bodies.
It's almost
everywhere.
more of a murder mystery than
Yeah.
it is a treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Okay. Thank you. You know what gets to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's treasure, there's dead bodies.
Dead bodies, yeah.
And
T-shirt?
Could be us. But before that, how have you guys been the last couple months?
I've been great. I have just been working and
Yeah.
enjoying the outside and hanging out with my family.
That's awesome. Chad, what about
that's
you?
awesome. I haven't been doing any of that. I don't have a family. I don't have a good job. I don't know.
Chad and I, by the way, we all work for the same company.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can get together as podcasts.
Yeah.
Is like, we get together. People think we're working in here. We're not.
So technically, our company is our sponsor, right? Because they allow us to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first
Instead of-
sponsor. Who
Yeah.
really?
Snow-
Yeah.
Snowball.com.
I'm all about involuntary anonymous sponsors. It's like a one-way sponsor.
Yeah.
They don't know they sponsor us.
Yeah. I like it. Well, I've been good, guys. We wrapped last season at the end of last year, and then we had the holidays, which were great. And then I was like super sick in January again, which is weird. I've had the weirdest year for sicknesses. Maybe Montezuma's curse. I don't know. Shouldn't have been poking around down there in Kanab. And then I had a baby at the end of January, so I took a couple of weeks of paternity leave, and I'm back in the saddle now. And excited to do
What
it.
did you name your baby?
Monty,
No.
short for Montezuma. Yeah.
That's not a bad name, though.
Little baby Monty.
Monty
Yeah.
Knight?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing with Montezuma's treasure was like, it's going to remain hidden until somebody that's worthy of finding the treasure finds. And I thought, like, hey, I'm not Aztec,
Yeah.
so the way to kind of like short circuit that would be to just name my kid Montezuma.
And maybe he could go to San Diego State.
Could be him.
Okay.
Little baby Steven. So named him Baby Steven, and he's doing well. He's alive
Awesome.
and kicking.
Yeah, he's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. But I've missed doing this. This is something I look forward to doing. So
Hey, and we got to say, the reason we're doing this, the Lost Dutchman, we already talked about it, right?
yeah,
Is
well,
based on, did I just blow it?
drum roll.
Surprise. The reason we're doing the topic that we're doing this season, is because
It's BKs. Yeah.
we can just cut
Because.
this, right? Okay.
No.
Anytime I'm having a rough little go in the podcast, I'll just say something offensive so I know he can't use it.
I like that a lot.
Okay. The reason we're doing the topic that we are doing this season is because we got a lot of comments on TikTok by people saying you guys should look into this. And so I'm pumped and excited and grateful for the feedback and pray. We really hope that we get lots.
You're doing a great job.
I've had a
Christian.
long off season. Okay, there's no warm up. It's not like we do a couple dry runs before
Let's
this.
just say this, listeners. Look, we're gonna shake off the rust. We are not offended. If you want to listen to this first episode on 2.0 speed, we get it. We're shaking some serious rust off here. Anyways, Christian,
What are you trying to say?
BK's why did we do this podcast?
We got great feedback on TikTok.
Yeah.
People said look
Yeah.
into it, and that's why we're doing it. So
Yeah.
thank you for your feedback.
Yep.
And please do so this season as well.
Were there a few other?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what other suggestions there are? Just
Like Levasor's treasure was one that we were told to look at. I did some research on.
Oak Island came up quite a
Yeah,
bit.
some people suggested Oak Island.
I don't know if we will do that one just because it's been covered so much. I haven't
Yeah.
really talked to you
I
guys.
mean, we'd
about
obviously do it way better than the History Channel.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Can I have a 30 seconds to pitch my next podcast that I'm going
Yes.
to do without you guys probably?
yeah,
that. Uh-huh.
Okay, it's we're doing these grand mysteries, these grand treasure hunts.
Yeah.
I want to do like a real low stake mystery.
I like it.
Like I want to do something where it's like, hey, I don't know what happened to this when I was growing up, and we'd never
Yeah.
been able to figure it out. And I'll just go in, probably with some better hosts, and we'll just investigate the hell out of it.
Are you really doing it without us?
I know you'll probably be involved, and
I'd like to at least make the content for
I
it.
can't set this stuff up, so you'll definitely you'll be in the start. You'll be involved. You'll be our producer.
Chad's on the AV team for Christian's.
No,
next
but how fun
podcast.
would it be just to get like really in depth, solving really low stake mysteries, and the name of the podcast, the Sherlock Homies.
That's a good.
I like it
podcast
a
name.
lot.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
a good. I'll give
You
you.
already know that I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's my favorite idea. But yeah.
Guys, the name is the game, so I think you're onto something there. But let's talk about this. So what we chose for this season, as spoiled by Christian, is the Lost Dutchman Mine. It's in the Superstition Mountains in Arizona, which is just to the east of like Mesa, right outside of Phoenix. Couple reasons why we chose it. One, suggested by a bunch of listeners.
Wait, it's in the Superstition Mountains?
Yeah,
Is that right behind the conspiracy theory lake?
I know. It's a
Okay.
great name for a mountain that might have treasure in it, isn't it?
you've already. We're 10 seconds in. I have a
Oh, yeah.
seed of doubt already, but continue.
Well, so by the way, like it's named because of that. Like I'm
I
gonna get to it.
imagine, yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple reasons why we like this treasure, and to be clear here to our audience, we promise we are going to move off of the Spanish gold, Native American protecting the treasure, southwestern United States, angle next season, we promise. But this was just such a layup for us, we felt.
Do you think really people are getting annoyed with that? They're like,
No.
man, I just wish we talked about more like Anglo-Saxon related treasures. Like, I want to know
fun for me.
I want the French treasure from Maryland. Like, I think everyone's cool with it.
Fair enough.
The Spanish had a lot of gold. They sucked at holding on to it.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of it is in the
Fair enough.
around us.
Fair enough. I dig that.
What?
Good luck cutting it.
Oh, man. But okay, so look, I think we all agree what we really like is
We forget to cut
is
that.
treasures that have really cool stories, right? Like just have a lot of these stories of people that are like dedicate their lives to searching for the treasure, or people that lose their lives searching for the treasure, and all the like mystique and allure and folklore that is built over like in a lot of cases, generations and generations and generations around these treasures. That's what I like. We like to try to see, what theories are plausible for where the treasure is, but we're not going out with metal detectors and are like on the front lines of trying to find the treasure. We like telling the story of the people that are trying to find the treasure. And this has a lot of those stories.
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
I would like for this season for us to take a step out into the darkness and actually do some investigative journalism. I don't want just secondhand stuff. I want to try to get some firsthand stuff.
Okay.
Because whatever in the first hand is always better than what's in the second hand.
Yeah.
And
Can we make that the one job you do?
no. Sure. So I just think as we find these people, as we find these stories, as people on TikTok say, hey, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
Let's take the next step and be like, hey, uncle.
Our goal is to have a guest on the podcast.
Yeah,
at least
or
one guest this season.
I just want content on this podcast you can't find anywhere else.
I like it.
We literally had someone reach out from the last season.
Yeah.
Who's been on History Channel shows that have been about him.
Yeah.
And
we
were too busy.
Yeah.
And we just moved on. So.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this season we're going to do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. Okay, Christian. I mean, that's Chad and I, safe to say, are at about kind of full plates here with the podcast. So
Okay. I'm ready. I'm excited.
I'm
I'm going to bring on some random person. You don't know what you got into.
I love it. Well, gang, given that, hopefully, delightful foreplay for our audience. Should we get into the story?
Or 3-play.
Ah,
Quick question. Is Dutchman's one word or two word? Is it a Dutchman's treasure or is it Dutchman's?
so it is one word, but it is a Dutch man's treasure.
It's also...
He's also not Dutch.
That's what I was going to say.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Oh, Christian, we have so many things to teach you.
That's just one.
By the way, we're not going to touch...
That's the first gold nugget.
Yeah. We are going to tell the story of the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine up to the point of the Dutchman today. So we're going to tell the entire kind of origin story. We're going to tell the Peter Parker getting bit by the spider story, and then we're going to tell the Peter Parker fighting crime stories after that. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good. Yeah. Cut it. Yeah.
No, I think it's good.
Yeah. In case you didn't know what an origin story is, audience, we'll tell the origin story of the treasure.
I thought you said orgy story and I got excited. But
Yeah. And we can tell that too.
What is that like?
Hey, look, some people's treasures are different. I don't know.
Where your penis is, there your treasure will be. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
There's going to be so much to edit out.
So for whoever was wondering, for Christian, I don't know what the current betting odds were between penis and vagina, what Christian was going to say first this season. But the P's win. The P's take it. Congratulations. Christian and Chad. Oh, and by the way, so one more thing. We talked about this a lot, but if this is your first time listening, here's the format. Chad and I, Alex, we do the research on the story. I'm kind of the primary storyteller. Chad backs me up and comes with the actual facts and knowledge. Christian, his job is to take the seat of the audience. So he represents you in this. And so he's actually getting these stories cold. We do that by design. One part design because Christian doesn't want to do any research, but another part because it's actually good to kind of have that experience of somebody engaging with this story fresh, like we know most of you are that are listening or watching the podcast. So that's why you'll probably hear me talking a little bit more than Chad, and Chad talking a little bit more than Christian.
I will also represent the user, our audience, in questions you asked on social media. I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
and make sure that I bring those to the podcast as well.
Love it. Okay.
Oh, you just thought of that?
Yeah.
Very good.
That's great. Okay, Christian, let's jump in our time machine and travel back to the year 1540, a delightful time
the
in
Renaissance.
the American Southwest. Spanish conquistadors land. This is when they kind of first start exploring the American Southwest. When they arrive in what is present-day Arizona, they find that land inhabited by the Apache Indians. The Spanish start interacting with the Apache Indians, and they do the thing that they always do the first time in the 1500s, that they meet people and they ask them a question. What do you think they ask them?
You got money?
Do you have treasure?
Yeah. Donde está el
La
oro?
treasure.
Yeah. For those of you that don't habla español, donde está el oro means where is the oro?
Oh, that's funny.
He's right.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, Apaches, you guys got any gold? And the story goes, by the way, this is the oldest part of the story. There's always a correlation between like the factual accuracy of the story and time. So a lot of this is going to be like allegedly, or the story goes. The story goes that the Spanish were like, hey, you guys got any gold? The Apache Indians at the time were like, oh yeah, there's like a ton of gold up in those mountains over there. And the Spanish are like, awesome. And then the Apache's like, but you can't go there because that's actually the dwelling or the home of the thunder god. And the Spanish are like, we're still going to go check it out. Like, no, that's the home of the thunder god. And if you go to try to take anything out of his home, he will get revenge. And the way that we know that it's the home of the thunder god, and if you've been to Arizona in the summer, you know this, is in the summer, you can hear him shouting from his home. Right? You hear thunder. There's just awesome in the desert, awesome thunder and lightning storms in the summer. So the legend goes, obviously the Spanish were like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll respect that. Like, you guys, that's sacred land for you. So we won't, we don't need gold that bad. So
They won't respect that.
So no, they didn't. So the legend goes, Spaniards started kind of going into this mountain range. The Apaches refer to it as, it's the home of the thunder god, but also they refer to it as the Devil's Playground, which is such a cool name for a mountain.
Make up your mind.
Oh, I want to name something. I want to name a piece of land the Devil's Playground. That's pretty cool.
Do the Native American tribes or Apache Native American tribe, do they have a devil like Satan type?
I don't know. So I actually tried to look up their like deity because I wanted to know like, is there a name for this thunder god? I couldn't find anything, and I looked. Yeah. So it's just the thunder god.
Thunder god.
Anyways, so the legend goes, some of these conquistadors would go up into the mountains to look for the gold, and there just started to be all of these stories of dead bodies, and people would say like, don't ever get out of sight of your camp or of your group, because if you're in the mountains and you are out of sight, you're done. A lot of like headless bodies getting uncovered and everything like that. So the conquistadors eventually bounced. They're like, not worth it. We're out of here. Okay. As the Western United States and what is now the Western United States and the American Southwest started getting more colonized by the Spanish, however, you started to actually see the development of the Superstition Mountains, right? Eventually, the story goes that there's this family, the Peralta family, that started establishing mining operations in the mountains, right? The Peralta family, this is contested by a bunch of historians about like A, whether they were a real family, and B, who this family is. Peralta is like a super common surname in Spanish, especially like in old Mexico.
That's what I was just going to ask. Is this the same family that's supposedly the Peralta stones?
Yes.
It's the same. That's how it connects to. Okay.
Is Jake Peralta?
Yeah, Detective Jake Peralta is actually the heir apparent to the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine.
That's big time.
So, so one thing that is factually verifiable is Pedro de Peralta was the governor of New Mexico back in like the early 1600s. So some people believe that this is like his kind of lineage, his family line. They were kind of through his governorship was granted from the Spanish kingdom either land rights or the right to mine Arizona. There's another family, allegedly, that was this hyper-wealthy cattle ranching family out in San Francisco, and some people believe that the Peralta family we're going to talk about came from that family line, and same thing, they were somehow granted either the land or the mining rights for these mountains. But so kind of in the early, and I'll say like this is kind of in the 1800s that the Peraltas, so we jump forward, the Peraltas in the 1800s start establishing these gold mines. There's one other story before that. In the early 1700s, allegedly, there's this Jesuit priest, Eusebio, I think, which when I say I think, I'm spot on in my pronunciation.
You are.
Francisco, because, Kino, apparently he had some recordings of he was a Jesuit priest in that area, and he explored up in the Superstition Mountains and brought gold back and kind of helped substantiate or continue this like hype of, hey, there might be gold in those mountains, but there's also like a really good chance you die.
Well, can we say that like in last season, all the people who had gold or apparently had gold were like spectators, prospectors?
Yeah.
I nailed it the second time.
Yeah, spectators.
Prospectors, and you're like, can I rely on these guys? Like
Yeah.
they were like, this is a Jesuit priest.
Yeah.
Like he already has more like credibility.
Depending on how you feel about Jesuit priests in the 1700s, sure.
Oh, I would trust no one more.
Okay.
What is Jesuit again?
It's like an order. It's a Catholic order.
Catholic order?
They were the
Okay,
ones that were like, oh, we're going to go into like the Amazon rainforest and like force convert a bunch of people.
Very
kind of
cool.
situation.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not cool.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, Jesuit priests, those are the ones that are always getting just murked by indigenous tribes too, because they're like, oh, I'm going to come.
Bad group of people though, like in
No.
is it
Like
Or
Jesuit
what?
priests today are like,
Oh, yeah.
my boys.
Highest order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that, honestly, we're kind of bumping up against the ceiling of what I know about Jesuit priests. So let's move on.
Good.
Anyway, so there's kind of that little anecdote that says there's not really anything more on that storyline. But you get into like the 1840s, and there's this Peralta family who kind of has a homeland in Mexico. But they have somehow these rights. Either they own the land or they have the mining rights to go and develop these mines in the Superstition Mountains, right? So the story goes, the Peralta family was aware that the Apache Indians kind of guarded this land, and they were sensitive to it. So they tried to be very kind of discreet about these mining operations. They would only go during certain seasons. They would only, extract the gold at night, those kinds of things. Again, all of this is just kind of the story around it, that not a lot of it is verifiable. But the Peralta family, in 1848, something gnarly happened that is known as the Peralta Massacre. So Peralta families going back and forth, kind of pulling gold out of these mountains, bringing them back to Mexico. They're accumulating just fantastic riches through doing it. And one of the times when they're doing this, they have, they bring a group of like 400 men up into the mountains. They mine it for a season. And as they're bringing the gold back out, they get attacked by the Apache Indians and massacred. And according to like one account, all but two members of the Peralta family are killed in the mountains. And 2 members of the Peralta family make it back.
What year was this?
1848.
How many of them were there?
They said there's like 4 Peralta brothers, I think, and 400 men.
400 men got taken out.
Yeah.
Like they were not ready. Did they
Yeah.
not have guns?
And I wonder,
or,
like, what's the? So
you're
does
saying
anybody
they're
know?
transporting gold from the Peralta mines back to Mexico?
Yep.
That's like a small army. Like those.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, it's called a massacre. I think like I don't know if there's like if there's a specific number of
7.
dead people that you have to have before you call it a massacre.
7.
So if 8 people die, it's a massacre.
Yeah.
If 8 people are murdered,
If
should
7,
say.
it's just like it's a bad day. Wait, what's the Boston Massacre?
Oh, Boston Tea Party.
No, what am I thinking about?
I don't know what you're talking.
The
Oh,
marathon?
it was the Boston Massacre, and it was like 2 people.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like,
But that was like for PR. That was like the revolutionists
like
were trying to
Crispus
stir up.
Attucks and his buddy got killed.
Yeah.
And then they called it a massacre.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty generous use of massacre.
Okay,
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't laugh at that.
Yeah.
Actually,
No matter. Like,
Friggin' bloodlust Chad over here is just licking his lips and
2
laughing.
years have passed since the massacre. You can laugh about it. There's a statute of limitations
Okay.
on funny
Safe to say, if it was 400 people,
massacre.
feel good about massacre.
I really want, if we do become like serious treasure hunters, my nickname to be Bloodlust Chad,
I'm good.
because I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also, yeah, never mind.
Do you need to be a treasure hunter to have that nickname? I think we can just start with it now.
All right. Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm gonna be Thunder God.
So back into it. Okay, so Peralta Massacre. 400 men, 2 Peraltas make it back. And it should be noted, this is going to come up later in the story, but the Peraltas had this way of recording where these mines were. They had to keep them really secret because they didn't want the Apache Indians protecting their sacred, grounds and closing the mines, everything like that. But after the Peralta Massacre happened, the Apaches did go close up all of the mines. The story goes. So, kind of not a lot happens in terms of like gold being found, except for there are 2 accounts that happened in the 1850s of people finding kind of evidence or the remnants of this massacre up in the mountains. First is there was this U.S. cavalry trooper, William Edwards, in kind of his memoirs or his recounting of his life. He says he was part of the group that was that discovered a bunch of human remains up in the Superstition Mountains, and he found he said he found a skeleton that had a gold filling in the tooth, which was something that was at that time uniquely belonged to members of like the Spanish aristocracy or
pronunciation. I need to stop that.
No, it's okay. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, the Spanish aristocrats, basically. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but so there's that evidence, and then the cooler story is in the 1850s, 2 prospectors come back into town. And they said that they found the remains of 3 burros that had saddlebags, leather saddlebags.
Donkeys with saddles.
Donkeys, okay.
For those of you that don't habla español.
No. There's an English word, burro, that is like...
Yeah, Joe Burrow, the quarterback.
No,
stop
and
so this wasn't any. It wasn't. They didn't
Isn't
find
that
any
like a little
quarterbacks.
Hill? Like 2 burrows. I thought. That's where my mind went. Was like a hill.
Yes, you're right.
And where bunnies live as well. No, this is B-U-R-R, a burro.
Okay.
2 donkeys.
There you go. I know exactly.
Yeah, now you know.
It's a burrito.
Why didn't you say donkeys or asses?
Because I like to sound like I'm fancy.
Yeah, that's cool.
He could have said asses.
Anyways.
But you sound cooler.
So these guys came back into town. They're like, we found 3 big ol' asses up in the mountains. And there were leather.
I can just see the AI image on the TikTok video, right? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try something.
Just some badasses up in the mountains. You can cut any of this if you want.
I think we're good.
So they inside those old saddlebags that they found in the donkey skeletal remains. Guess what they found?
I'm gonna say gold.
A crap ton of gold.
Yeah.
$37,000 worth of gold of that time's dollar value. So an effing fortune.
Is that an effing fortune?
$37,000 in the 1850s. I mean, I don't know how wealthy you are, Chad. I feel like $37,000 today that's pretty nice.
No, I'm not
I'm
wealthy.
sorry, we're not impressing you. It was in a donkey's.
Holy cow!
How much is that?
$37 billion.
How much? Okay. So you're saying at the time it was 37?
Stop hitting
I'm sorry, it's in my face. So is it
$37,000 of 1850s dollars,
which is how much?
Yeah.
Somebody in the TikTok comments will do the math. Chad,
I
relax.
guarantee. Let's take a bet. Let's all 3 guess.
Yeah.
Who's the closest gets to dance.
I bet it's a 20x.
I'm gonna go with 2.7 million.
I'm gonna go with
That's 200 times as much.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with like 1.2 million.
I'm literally like $350,000.
Okay.
I really don't think it's that
All
much.
I know is that in Newsies you could buy a hamburger for 3 cents.
All I know is that somebody did this for us on the $18,000 worth of gold that James White found around the same time.
There was the longest message thread.
The economists were going ham in the comments.
I want to establish our experts in different fields
Yeah.
that we've already had.
Just
So
reach
we're
out
like,
to
Susan, tell us, what's the archaeology
Gravedigger 7911. Can you run the math on that real quick for us?
But like everyone has their specialty.
Scuba Diver 69.
Whoa.
Yeah, Chad, come on. I'm
okay,
sorry.
that's the worst joke.
I'm sorry. Cash Me Outside is for the children. I'm
my
sorry
gosh.
about Chad. Anyway, crap ton of gold. Basically, crap ton of gold.
Do you know how hard it is to do 69 while we're in scuba gear? Sorry.
They would.
I got a headache. I got a headache from that. That was funny. If you cause a headache in me from laughing, then it's a good joke. Can we keep that, by the way? Sorry.
I'm good with it. He's the one being inappropriate.
Oh, you can't keep that.
Anyway, hey, so by the way, this goes up on Spotify, and what we're finding is a lot of people just listen to these every day, our old episodes. So Christian's children, 10 years from now, if you're listening to this, I hope you know that there's a side of your father that he didn't show you.
69 is just when 2 people love each other. They give each other a special kiss, but they miss.
We got to get back on track. Okay, so
they miss?
Oh man, it's just two lovers with bad aim. Okay, okay.
It's just dizzy.
We have to keep it.
No way we can't.
Why? Okay.
It's fine if you have like a inappropriate little like one-liner that we can just sneak in. It's another thing if we have like a 5
full-
minute.
If we ever have to reference the 2 minute 69 talk that we have, like, it's just too long. Like,
Yeah. Okay, back on track.
Sorry.
So this is kind of all of the things that lead up to the Dutchman, right? We're going to talk about the Dutchman, but the Dutchman is connected to the Peralta family. He's connected, obviously, to this Superstition Mountains area. But basically, what you can see here is after the Peralta Massacre and the people that kind of substantiate that the Peralta Massacre happened and that the massacre happened because there was a ton of gold. There's just a ton of hype around what's going on up there. And so super excited to tell the story of the Dutchman that we'll tell next week. But this is going to be a really freaking fun season, guys.
wait, it hasn't even been substantiated that those people were actually killed. There's people who don't believe the massacre even happened.
Well, so that's those two stories are the like substantiation. It's not like it wasn't published in the newspaper at the time or
I
anything.
feel like it has to be. It's like, hey, where did Daddy and his 399 closest friends go?
But these are
like,
not.
There's going to be so many people that are missing.
But no,
people.
but these aren't like. This isn't like. This
didn't
isn't
say
like
it was
dentist.
400
This
best
isn't dentist
friends.
Joe from Old Phoenix. These are like miners that were brought up from Old Mexico City.
Yeah, but there's 400 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all have people that care about them, people they love, and they all are
It's
missing
the
each other.
1840s. Christian massacres
there's
were
still-
happening all the time.
Yeah,
in the
they-
Mountain
yes.
Meadows.
No.
In the Boston Meadows.
Those are the only two massacres you know of. So
There was
and
so
the
much
Peralta.
violence back
Yeah.
then.
I know, but 400.
Yes.
By
they
the
were
way,
like
we don't
villages.
know if it was 400. The legend is that it was 400.
Okay.
Like they didn't do a census of.
I will say
Peralta
this:
family
if, like,
miners.
if Daddy disappeared in the Superstition Mountains, I'm going to be thinking like,
No, he didn't.
no, he didn't. Daddy just fell in love with a harlot and ran off. Like the Superstition Mountains. I want to know at what point it became the Superstition Mountains, because that is
Well,
like
there's a lot of people who don't want people to believe that there's treasure there. So it makes sense.
I
The
feel like-
Superstition Mountains, this is to put it another way, the Superstition Mountains for disloyal men in the 1850s in Old Phoenix was like the modern day going to get some cigarettes at the gas station. It was like, hey, I gotta go do some prospecting up in the Superstition Mountains. I'll be back tonight. I love you.
Gonna go look for some treasure.
And then Dad never came back. Yeah.
I just if you call it the Superstition Mountains, I feel like you're calling attention to it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you really wanted to hide and not get people to go to the mountain,
Yeah, or
you call it like
if like the first time
don't
the
know.
Spanish colonizers encountered those mountains, it was like, don't go up there or you'll get killed because there's a thunder god up there, and then people went up there and got killed and decapitated. Like that's pretty aptly named. I don't think you're going to name those like the Pleasant Brook Mountains.
I know. I'm just saying, if my daughter comes to me, I'm not going to
Yeah.
say, she's like, Mom, Dad, can I have some candy? I'm gonna be like, you can have any candy, but make sure you don't go to the third,
Yeah.
row. What's it
Where
called?
is this
Shelf?
going?
No, listen, don't go to the third shelf and don't look behind this, because you'll find a huge bag of candy that if you eat it, it will make you like sick. And we're going to call that shelf the Candy Mountain Shelf. Like, I don't know.
I was so interested.
This is an analogy that got away from me.
Christian,
I'm
let me tell you something. You are a wizard with your words. You are such a good analogizer.
But
I've known you for some time now.
Uh-huh.
That is among your worst work.
no, I'm telling you,
pretty bad.
It's a great. I just
got
explained
it.
it well.
Yeah.
I got it. I just I would make some changes to the story.
Yeah, like just not tell the analogy that way.
Anyways,
But you are normally really good at it.
That's great.
So.
Thanks.
Guys, I'm excited. This is going to be such a fun story. So coming up, by the way, if you think you're done with dead bodies in the Superstition Mountains, yeah, right. I've got newspaper articles. I've got stories. I've got more decapitated bodies. I've got more decapitated bodies that have more gold on them. I've got more stories of people coming back and bringing gold and just having a crap ton of money that they magically find in the Superstition Mountains.
Is there any romance?
Yeah.
We got romance.
There's there maybe there's a lady that becomes the like primary mine hunter because she takes care of the Dutchman in his dying days, which is a really sweet story.
I like that.
Yeah.
Not quite romantic.
Well, give me some time. I'll come up with something.
Well, when he said take care of the Dutchman.
Yeah. Yeah, chat. Yeah. It's not romantic because you just assumed that taking care was strictly health related.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, excited to see what we got. I forgot I'm the outro guy.
I kind of just kept been like saying sentences
totally
waiting for Chad to.
Until next time, we'll catch you on the next one outside.